All right, I love footage that you can get out of a wearable gimbal, but then you have, you know, this thing. And this is the second one I've owned, by the way. And that's why this camera is kind of interesting. So this is the Insta360, and it has this thing called flow state stabilization, which is supposed to produce some really good stabilized footage. And this is going to be more on the budget end of the 360-degree cameras that are available, but it does come with a lot for just $300. This unique little pill-shaped camera has lenses on both sides, as you can imagine. It has a power button on one side, which I will guarantee you will accidentally press. And then on the other side, there's going to be a flip-up lightning connector, a micro USB charging port, as well as a reset button. It's got a microphone up top, and then on the bottom there's a slot for a micro SD card slot, which supports up to 128 gigabyte cards. And then right next to that is one of my favorite features. It has a quarter 20 mount, which allows for a lot of different mounting options. Now, there are a few things that you should be aware of. These are going to be all exposed ports, so dirt and water can get in there. They do make a waterproof case, though, in case you want more protection. They claim 70 minutes of battery life, and I was definitely able to get an hour out of it, but just note that it's a non-removable battery. But one more thing to consider is that these are non-replaceable lenses, so just make sure to protect those lenses. But the nice thing is it comes with this little case, and this may sound weird, but I was actually really impressed with what they did here. First, it obviously serves as protection for your lenses, but once you take it out and actually flip it over, it becomes a little stand. That's pretty cool, but the fun doesn't stop there. So you're going to notice these two little notches. So the Insta360 can shoot independently, which makes it convenient and out of the way, but if you require a viewfinder, you can actually plug it into your phone, which is pretty awesome if you're holding your phone. But what if you want to set it down? Well, you can actually put your phone into these two notches, which allows you to place your phone down. Super cool, but do note, however, that if you do have a screen protector, it may damage it, so just be careful. In terms of mounting, since it's a fairly small device, it's pretty versatile. So you can wear it like a gimbal on a chest mount, you can put it on your handlebar, nearly anywhere on your bike really, or even on your helmet. So first, let's go ahead and try it out like a gimbal, which are generally worn on a chest mount. But as you can see here, the flow state stabilization is doing a pretty good job. I'd say it's pretty darn close to gimbal-like stabilization. However, as you can tell, the image quality could be better. Now for the handlebars. If you mount an action cam to your handlebars, it's going to shake around a lot because your bike is absorbing all those rocks and whatnot. But as you can see, again, it's doing a pretty good job. Now, one drawback with 360-degree cameras is that there may be a noticeable seam in the footage, especially so if your lens is a little bit dirty, so just make sure to keep your lenses clean. And talking about seams, let's pan down for a second. You're going to notice some strange stuff going on down here where it's actually mounted, and this just kind of happens when the camera isn't propped up. To get a full 360-degree view, even the bottom, you'll need to prop it up above the attachment point, which will allow the software to stitch together an uninterrupted image, and then it creates this effect that kind of makes it seem that the camera is floating. Now, this type of shot is really cool, but I feel I should give at least a small word of warning. So to get this type of shot, you'll need to use an extension bracket to get the camera away from your helmet. And there's a couple risks involved here. So first are going to be overhead objects like trees or branches, which could actually catch this whole thing. But the second is going to be in the event of a crash. So in the event of a crash, what we actually want to happen is for one of these pivot points to absorb some of that impact, or for the GoPro mount to actually physically rip off the helmet. But if one of those things do not happen, what could happen is that it could actually catch and wrench your head sideways, which could cause a neck injury. And one more thing I do want to mention too is that although it is a lightweight unit, if you wear it around like this for about 5 to 10 minutes, you will probably feel a little bit of neck strain. So just be smart and be careful if you choose to try it this way. Disclaimer over. But this is where you can get that full 360-degree seamless footage. I mean, this is pretty darn cool to be able to move it around to grab quite literally any angle that you want. And that's the other huge advantage about a 360-degree camera, is that you don't have to point it at anything. You just basically mount it wherever, and then you just choose the footage later. So how do you choose that footage? Well, you'll plug it into your phone using that pop-up lightning connector, and then the app just kind of automatically starts. And although this is a built-in lightning adapter, they do have an Android adapter as well. When the app launches, here's where you're going to use your phone as a viewfinder to take photos, video, and even go live. And then if we pop over to the album tab, here's where you can browse through all of your footage. Now, what is super cool is how you actually choose your camera angle from the full 360-degree image. So there's going to be 3 ways to do this. You can use a pivot point, smart track, or the viewfinder mode. Pivot point works as intended, and then Smart Track allows for automatic tracking of a subject to keep it in frame. And it was actually pretty good as long as your subject is clearly defined, but when the subject gets a little bit smaller, or maybe there's a lot of stuff in the background, it can lose the subject. But then there's this viewfinder mode, which works just like you're viewing a 360-degree video. You'll actually physically move around to choose your angle. Now, I thought this would kind of be a pain, but I had a lot of fun doing this. I kind of felt like I was reliving the ride, and I would highly recommend a nice swivel chair for the most fun editing experience. But let's get back to this image quality. It most definitely has gimbal-like stabilization, but the image quality is going to be its weak point. But another thing I should mention is that the audio quality could be a lot better.
Oops, I did it again. I played with your heart, got lost in the game.
It's okay in a controlled environment, but once it starts to encounter wind or shaking around, it becomes not as usable. Now, this video is really about how it could possibly replace a gimbal, which I think it definitely can if you're okay in that compromise in image quality, but this thing really is quite versatile. There's also a bullet time mode, which takes a really cool shot, and you'll do this by swinging the camera around on a string. There's also hyperlapse, as well as those live streaming capabilities. I do like this camera a lot, and although the image quality is usable, it could be improved. And then we have cameras like the Fusion and the Verb that do get a lot better footage, but they're also double the price. So I don't think it's necessarily a content creation tool, like if you want to do full-blown trail videos like BKXC or Nate Hills, but for social media, this thing kills it. Plus, there's the convenience. It's super small, allowing for a lot of versatile mounting options, and with that well-designed case, I just stuck it in my pocket when I wasn't using it. And I specifically wanted to check it out for mountain biking, but they do also have a ton of different accessory kits for everything from surfing, rock climbing, and then even for your pets. Anyhow, head on down below to the description where I do have affiliate links if you're interested in purchasing this product. And while you're down there, hit that like button if you like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.